Sripada Srivallabha Charithamrutham, Chapter 32. Descriptions of Navnads. After touching the lotus feet of Sripada, I asked, Lord, I have heard that there are great siddhas, yogis named as Navnadas, and they are partially manifestations of Lord Datta. Sri Charan benevolently told me about them. On hearing the names of Navnads, I noticed that ambrosial look emanated from the eyes of Sripada into the external creation. I saw his looks, this consciousness of love shown by a mother cow on its young calf. He was pleased and said, My dear ones, Machendranath, Gorakshnath, Jalandharnath, Adbhanga, Chauranga, Bharatadri, Charpata and Naganada are the Navnads. A mere resemblance of them will give auspicious results. The grace of the Lord Datta would certainly be on those who recollect the names of Navnads. Some years before the commencement of Kali Yuga, Sri Krishna, surrounded by great devotees like Uddhava and all Yadavas, thought about Navnarayans, who are now called as Navnads. Emperor Rishabha had 100 sons. Among them, 9 who had the Narayana Amsa was called Navnarayans. Their names are Kavi, Hari, Antarikshudu, Parabhuddhudu, Pimpalarayudu, Abhihotrudu, Dhrumuludu, Chamarasudu and Karabhanjagudu. All of them were Siddha Purushas who were in the state of Avadutas. As per my command and to company with the promise made in the Krishna incarnations and to conduct the mission of establishment of Dharma, they were born on the earth as Navnadas. Kavi was born as Machendranath. Hari was born as a disciple of Machendranath under the name Gorakshaka. Anantariksha was born as Jalandhara and Parabhuddha as his disciple under the name of Khanif. Pipalayana was born as Charabhadra. Avirhora was born as Nageshwananda. Dhrumula was born under the name of Bharatendra and Chamarasa was under the name of Revana Nada. Karabhanjana was born under the name of Ghanananda. At the beginning of the creation, the semen of Brahma leaked due to some reason. Sage Vyasa wrote in the Bhavishya Purana that many sages would be born in many places from that semen. There was once Upachara Vasavu. He was enamored of Urvashi. Once his sperm leaked and fell into the Yamuna river. A fish drank it. From that fish Machendranath was born. Shiva burnt the culprit into ashes with the fire from his forehead. In that ash, the soul of the Cupid stayed in a subtle form. When a king named Bruhanda was performing yagna, Jalendranath emerged from the fire altar of the sacrifice. From the semen of Brahma that fell into the Reva or the Narmada river, Revana Siddha was born. Some sperm of Brahma fell on the hood of a snake. The snake ate it, thinking it to be a food item. So it became pregnant, and Janamachendriya was performing Sarpa Yaga. A sage named of Akshataka rescued the great serpent from destruction. He hid that serpent knife Padmini, daughter of Takshara, in a hole of a big Audambara tree. Avirhotra had to be born from that embryo embedded in the womb. The daughter of Tarakaksha kept the embryo in the hollow of the Audambar tree left for her native place. From that, Avirhora was born under the title Vatasiddha Nagananda. When Machendra was wandering in the country, he gave some holy ash charged with a mantra to a issueless lady. She had no faith and she threw the ashes into a heap of rubbish and sweepings. Since that holy ash had great powers, Gorakshananda emerged from that. During the marriage of Parvati, Brahma, officiated as the priest for the ceremony, became distracted on seeing the beauty of Parvati. On account of that, his semen leaked. He was ashamed, and he rubbed that semen with the heel of his leg, concealing it from all. That rubbed semen became 60,000 parts, and from that 60,000 sages called Valakyas were born. Some part of it that was still left turned into waste and fell into the river Bhagirathi. It gradually moved into a grassy shrub in the river bank and was caught there. The soul of Pipalayana entered into it, and a Navnath called Charapanath was born. A sage called Kukulaya, while going from his hut, collected alms, kept the begging bowl outside the hut. At that exact time, the sperm of the sun dropped into it. The Maharishi who noticed it preserved it there. Bharatari means begging bowl. So Bharatari was called like that because he was born out of the begging bowl. In the Himalaya mountains, a dense forest, a big elephant was sleeping. On seeing Saraswati, Brahma was smitten with infatuation, and as a result his sperm leaked. Providently, that sperm fell into the ear of the elephant. A person called Prabuddha took life from it. As he was born out of the ear of the elephant, he became famous under the name of Karnakhanif as one among the Navnathas. Goraksha prepared a clay human image chanting the Sanjeevani mantra. From that image, due to the efficacy of the Sanjeevani mantra, Karabhanjana came into life and was born with the name of Gandhinada. The Navanarayans preserved their gross bodies in Samadhi state in the Mandhara mountains and incarnated on the earth with their potencies as Navanathas and participated in the program of establishment of Dharma. Then I questioned, victory unto the Guru Sarvabhauma. You said that Navanathas incarnations were the quasi incarnations of the Navakrishnas. O Lord, is there any difference between Navakrishnas and Navanathas? Sripada smilingly directed towards us his looks filled with divine love. He proclaimed, Dear ones, I am the great resolve for all the creation. The resolve of all the gods and goddesses are only frictious of my great resolve. These fractional intentions will have independence to a limit extent. A cultivator ties a cow to a tree. He ties it with a long rope. The cow can gaze only up to the distance allowed by the rope. It means that the cow has a determined limited space in which it can gaze. It can gaze subjected to those limitations. It implies that it was granted a restricted liberty. It can gaze freely in the zone of freedom granted to it. If it had crossed those limits for gazing, it must necessarily have the permission of the farmer. With the fodder, a particular piece is exhausted. The incarnations will be granted with the fodder at that particular place is exhausted. The farmer would tie it to another tree or lengthen the rope if it is retained at the same tree. In the same fashion, the quasi incarnation will be granted independence within the principle of dharma and karma. Therefore, the resolve emanates from the prime nature. The responsibility of implementing it would be entrusted to the part incarnations. If any problem crops up, these fractionized incarnations submit those difficulties to the prime phenomena. They bring the grace from the origin, for instance, the prime phenomena, and cause welfare to the living beings. At the fraction incarnation of the main nature do not have bad qualities like lust, hate, ignorance, arrogance, etc. They are capable of performing all activities that the prime nature is capable of. Therefore, as far as living beings are concerned, there is no difference between the incarnations, be it a complete incarnation or a quasi incarnation. Explanation about Saibaba. I told you previously that in the future my Samartha Satguru form by name Saibaba would be imminent. He will choose Shiladhi Nagaram as his place of work and he will protect his devotees. The avatar will not be different from my nature. I will make a decision on how much grace should be given and how much should not be given. If Sai Baba is disturbed by his devotees' prayers and asks for more grace from me, I will definitely give. When the nature of the Lord bestows grace on listening to a common man's prayer and anguish, why will it not be granted when Sai Baba asks? So all devotees who follow Sai Baba will definitely be benefited. It is said that Site Vishwamate iti Sai. The nature of Sai is that one which calculates the function of organs. Do realize that the nature of Sai Baba will be state of merger within me. Then I asked, salvations of Sri Mahaguru, is Vasavi Kannika a complete incarnation or a quasi-incarnation? Sripada said, in accordance with the promise made by Arya Mahadevi, she was born as a daughter of Kusuma Srishti. If Kanyaka had not incarnated, then the Vaishya caste would have many mishaps. A Vaishya by the name Samhadi noticed this danger in an unexpressed stage in the form of a seed. He noticed that the form of unexpressed state, it would change to the expressed state, sprout and then become a big tree, and that the Vaishya caste would be wedged in danger. If Ambika had not emerged as Vasavi, then the cruel kings like Vishnuvardhana would marry beautiful girls of ordinary kings like Kusuma Srishti or his relatives and take pleasure from them as their mistress and make everyone descend in dharma. In order to evade such happening to a girl of ordinary kings and protecting their chastity, self-respect and linking towards their caste, Vasavi entered the fire along with the couples of different gotras. Linking towards caste and self-respect should be inducted into the fire, else the Vaishyas having dignity and pride should be burnt. In this critical test of fire, with the grace of Sri Vasavi, Vaishyas became victorious. In return to that sacrifice, people who were in their gotras were granted wealth and health, having no dearth of food and clothing. Sri Vasavi Kanyaka is only one beaming ray of Arya Mahadevi. The earth cannot withstand the rays of the endless power of Sri Vasavi. Came as a quasi-avatar for a special purpose. Although her 18 years of lifespan, she burnt the ill fate of their caste people in the Yogagni. The unevitable ill fate is loss of chastity. Recognize that the most ill fate of a woman is to lose of chastity rather than wealth and prosperity. When such threat came her way, she attracted such fate of all people of her gotras towards her, and she established a divine truth in the nature of burning herself in the fire along with the couples of 102 gotras. When she bestowed her real form of Arya Mahadevi, everybody including Kusuma Srishti were frightened. My dear, only 3 can see the true form of chaste woman. They give darshan with all their ornaments and Mangal Sutra, while giving darshan to Mahamatas has higher stage than them, while giving darshan to their husbands who married them with the fire being the witness, while gracing their true devotees who are at a lower state than them. Vishnuvardhana fell in love with his goddess of death, but not Vasavi. The goddess of death prayed Vasavi, "Oh mother, please let me take your form." Ambika agreed. Then another form of Vasavi emerged out of which resembled the Vasavi form. The form merged into the goddess of death. The goddess of death merged into Vishnuvardhana and wrecked his head into 1,000 pieces and came out. This was the real incident that took place on that day. Here we come to end of chapter 32 of Sripada Srivallabha Charithamrutham. Om Sai Ram.